everyone. I'm going to explain your writing activity for you for this week. You're going to be writing about a place. So you might choose to write about your house or a place that you've been before. Maybe it's the beach, or maybe it's a park that you love, or a tree fort that you have maybe in your backyard. It could also be about a favorite campground or maybe a favorite beach that you visited. So the first thing I want you to do is I've posted 3 stories that I want you to watch and listen to. They're stories that will hopefully give you an idea of what I would like you to write about. So the first story is about loving Nova Scotia. It's kind of geared towards younger children, but it's a good story because it will give you an idea of what we're looking for. The second story is about a boy who makes a playhouse out of a box. And it's a good story because it talks about the playhouse that he builds, that he makes, and the challenges that he faces in sharing that with his friends. Hopefully it will also get you thinking about why Nova Scotia is a good place to live, because everybody is welcome to live here together, and we live in harmony together. The third story is written by a well-known Canadian author, Robert Munsch. And I've chosen this story written by Robert Munsch because I think it's great the way he integrates Canadian culture into his stories. So the story is about an exciting event that happens at a boy's house. So that might be something that you might choose to write about, is about something that maybe has happened at a place that you like. Maybe something exciting happened at your house. So before you start your writing, I want you to consider creating a quick brainstorm of things that come to mind about your place that you've decided to write about. Jot all your ideas down and try to come up with at least 5 or 6 ideas that relate to your place. As you brainstorm your ideas, answer these questions. Do you want to tell a story about something that happened at that place? Or maybe you want to write about the first time that you went there, or the last time you went there. Maybe if you recently moved to a new house, it could be about the first time that you saw your new house. Then what I'd like you to do is organize your ideas and make a plan for your writing. We've talked about using first, next, then, and finally. Or you may choose to use first, then, and finally. So what you're going to do is put your ideas in order so that your story makes sense. It's important to have your ideas organized before you start writing. So I've given you a document outline that you can use, or you can use a blank piece of paper to write down the order that you would like to tell your story, thinking about what happened first, what happened next, what happened then, and what happened finally. The next thing I want you to think about, once you've organized some of your ideas, is I have a goal for you to try to integrate some new techniques in your writing. So good writers use lots of different things in their writing, and so I want you to try to practice using some new things. I think you can do it. So the first one I think is a new one for some of you. It's called temporal words. So a lot of authors integrate temporal words into their writing, and they are used to kind of transition between times. So things like the next day, or when I first woke up, later on that day. Those would be temporal words. So I found this really cool little wrap that will explain how to use temporal words in your writing. So click on the link and watch the little wrap about using temporal words, and I think you can do it. The next thing I want you to try to do is to use words that will help the reader understand how you feel about the place where your story takes place. Your writing should come from the heart and give insight into your personality. This is called voice. It's a really important part of your writing because it really helps the reader feel connected to what you've written about. So if your place is a place that you care about, then it should be pretty easy for your voice to come through in your writing. Okay, the last thing I want you to try to do is weave lots of descriptions into your writing so that the reader has a really strong sense of where your story takes place, as well as what the people in your story are like. Now, we've talked a lot about what people are like on the inside as well as what's on the outside. So try to think about including some of those descriptions in your writing. And as you use those descriptive words, think about stepping up your game a little bit. It's time to move beyond using words like good and nice and bad. We're going to try to use juicier words, juicier descriptive words. So replacing good with amazing, nice with beautiful, and bad with disgusting could be some ideas for you. Then I want you to get ready to write your rough draft. So remember, as you write, you're going to go back and reread what you've written. I think it's a good idea to go back and reread every sentence or every 2 sentences after you've written them. And as you reread them, ask yourself, does this make sense? Also, keep checking back to your plan to make sure that you're keeping your writing organized. You don't want to lose track of what you're doing, okay? Sometimes it's easy to start talking about or writing about something else. So try to keep focused on what your plan is. And then once you finish writing your rough draft, read it over a couple of times. 3 times is best. And try to read it out loud one of those times so that you can really hear what your story sounds like, okay? Then I also just want you to do a quick check in your writing to make sure that you didn't start all your sentences with the same word. We don't want all our sentences starting with the, or what's another one that I hear, or then. So make sure you try to start your sentences with different words, and have you use capital letters at the start of your sentences and periods. Really important. And it's expected that you do that in a rough draft in grade 3 and in grade 4. And then ask yourself, did I use any of those temporal words that I just learned about? Have I used lots of descriptive language? And did I really integrate voice? Did I write this from my heart? Does it show how I feel about this place? I really, really think that's important. And that's it. So send your rough draft to Miss Bryan or to me, and we'll have a look at it and do some editing for you. And then next week, you'll have a chance to work on writing your good copy. And we've got some awesome, fun ideas for ways that you're going to publish your story. If you have any questions, make sure you get in touch with your teacher and ask your questions. You can also ask your parents or older brothers or sisters to help you too. I'm so excited to see these stories, and I hope you guys have fun.